Hello everyone and welcome to this episode. Today we'll be thinking and resolving some problem how to connect Node.js with some database, but no NoSQL, just SQL database. And for that we'll use very easy and polite version, so SQLite, which will connect to Express application in Node.js. Without further ado, we need to open our Visual Studio Code and just run the terminal. I should go to desktop, for example, make direction like Node.SQL, go to that file, and there I should create the magic. So npm init-y to initialize Express application. Right now, also what I need is to also install npm install Express and SQLite 3, and everything will be installed. Don't worry if you don't understand SQL, I will just briefly show you some links where you can read more about connecting SQL to the Node.js, and also some tutorials of some only Node SQL. Okay, whenever it's going to install, I will just go there and wait a few seconds when our dependencies will be installed. I will just run the terminal again and wait a second, and we've got everything installed. So inside our folder, I mean NodeSQL, as you can see in the package.json, we've got only Express and SQLite. And to do everything to connect and create some basic CRUD operations, we'll need few files. First will be database.js, where we'll just initialize our table inside the SQLite. The second thing that we'll need is to create some kind of CRUD.js, which will handle all of our logic, and index.js to just fire up our application. So first of all, go to databases, and here we'll need a few things. First will be SQLite 3, because that's the version which we are going to use, and we will require SQLite 3. That verbose. That's what we need to have inside our application. Also, we'll create some DB name, which later on will handle our database. In our case, will be like my database.db. That DB extension is obligatory, but my database you can name however you would like to. So don't worry, only remember about that DB. Okay, whenever we've got our SQL imported, we've got our name, we should just create our database. So first of all, we create new SQL3 database, and right now we are going to create and get to the database which called my database.db, and we need first to call back the error, and if there is an error, we'll just console error that message, and that's all. So we handle if there are any errors, but else if everything's okay, we need console.log connected to the database. Okay, and db.run. Right now we create, so we are going to create the query inside our SQL. As you can see, the SQL string we need to provide over there. And if you don't know, I will also provide you some basic SQL queries that you can use in your application in the description below the video. So first of all, we need to create the table, and if not exists. So if there is not table, we will just create the table, which will be called items. And that items should have some kind of fields. First, it will be ID. I'll just close it. And it will be integer. And it will be primary key, so the primary one. And we'll also add auto increment. So each time we create a new one, it will automatically increment, and we don't have to handle that by ourselves. So the next thing, we need to provide, for example, some tags, and as before we've done with React and Firebase, we will also make description as text as well. So we just provide both of them. Okay, we need right there, check if there is an error, as you can see inside that callback. And if it's an error, but hope that there is no error, we need to, if error, like before, console.error, error.message, so we'll know what's going on, and console.log, table created or existed. So I just changed there. And the only thing that we need to do, just give me a second, is to module.exports.db. And with that code, we are going to create our database, which later on we are going to work on. So to work on that database, we need to go to the Node.js. The naming convention is up to you, but I prefer in that case that one. CastDB equal require and slash database. Okay, so we're getting to that file. And right now, we need to cast create item. And here we need name, description, and also later on, I will show you why we need a callback. That's the case here. Okay, so first of all, we need to const SQL. So right now we are going to create some SQL query. And to work, we need insert into items. We need name and description. So we are going to insert their name and description with values, which will be unknown at that time. Whenever we know our SQL query, which will be inserted inside our table, we are going to db.run. So again, we need first of all query SQL string as before, as you remember, inside our database whenever we create it. Then we need the callback. In that case, we'll handle our name and description. Remember that we should just paste it at the same places as before there. And we need to handle our error callback, and here we will just error ID this last ID. And that's the case how you should handle the create item. I think that for that part, it's very obvious whenever you know the queries. The function of the callback is another lesson, so we'll just stick that we should just go with that part. Const read items, and here to read we only need callback. Const SQL, and to query all the strings we need select asterisk, so all from items, so from our table, which is called items. db.all, we need SQL, there are no params, and all the things that we need also is the callback that will be passed here. as always, there will be the callback as well. Okay, so whenever we've got our read items, we've got create items, we need two more. So const update item equal, and we need ID, name, description, and also callback here. Okay, const SQL, so we are going to create our SQL query. I know that there is a mistake, typo, and here update, that's the query to update it, items, set name as unknown, description also, where ID equals unknown. So we don't store the value of the ID or anything right now, because we are going to pass them with the run. So SQL, name, description, and also we need the ID with the same order as we done before. Also, we are going to call the callback over there, which will just create inside our routes, but inside index.js. So don't worry, we will not create so many files. And the last one, const delete item, and we need only ID and callback. And here we are going to const SQL. We are going to create delete from items where ID equals unknown. And db.run SQL ID and callback as the third argument. As we know everything, we need to send them to the another file, so just export it. So module that exports equals create item, we need read item, we need also update item, and the last one will be delete item. Whenever we are ready and know all of the files that we have to handle, we should just go to our index.js. So right now, going back to our index.js, where we are going to create our whole magic. So, okay, we need const express equals require express. Also, we need create item, read items, update item, and delete item from, equals require dot rat. And from that, we are going to need all of the files. Const application, so we are going to create our app.use, express.json, and with that, we are almost ready to start our journey with creating the routes. First route, we, as always, get all items. So items, request response, as always, we are creating route. And here, read items. As you know, we need callback, so error or rows. And we call that if there is an error, there is an error, come on, not response. Rest the status, and it will be 500, and send it to error that message. Whenever it's okay, we call the status on 200, and from JSON, we just get the rows. So all of our data. And that's what we are going to retrieve from our database. Okay, the next thing that we need is the post. And with that, I will show you that everything, if everything's work, we will just be able to check how it's working. So const name, also we need the description and the request.body. So we are getting the request.body.name equals name, request.body.description equals description, if you didn't know. Create item, and we need to get name, description as the arguments, and here also error and data. That's why we need, and we created that callback. So whenever we are creating our SQLite, the error first callbacks are inside of that as the main part. So that's why we also always get not, for example, request response next or so on. We handle error as first. So if there is an error, as before, 500, and then error.message. That's all that we need. Also, raise the status if everything's okay. We need to send item is added. I'll just create the temple string over there with ID, data.id. That's all that we need to get the item. Okay, so we created adding things, deleting things, but right now we need to test it. And to test it, we are going to need the Postman. I've got prepared Postman. If you don't have Postman, I will just leave a link where I explain the basics of Postman, how we can just use it. If you don't know how to use Postman, also I've got some course over my YouTube channel, and you can just go there and watch it by yourself. But whenever we are inside our Postman, we can add the item. And to add item, we need to create the localhost /3000. But wait. We need also to create app that listen on port 3000, for example, server. Oh, come on, console.log server is running. And right now we need node index.js. Okay, something that's not working. Express is not installed. Come on, what I installed? Okay, npm install express with 3 S's I just created. Oh my god. I don't need you. And right now, as you can see, everything worked. I got our database, my database over there. But how we can handle it inside the Visual Studio Code, I will also show you later on. But first of all, go to our Postman, create the route, then go to body, row, JSON, create some text, and send, and wait. There is something add, some name. Oh, come on, 2. And also we'll just create 2 and send that as well. To get items, we need localhost 3000/items. Here, whenever we send, as you can see, we are retrieving both of them. So going back to our application, we know that we can add and delete items. Right now, we need to handle 2 more. So to update and delete, so to delete. And first of all, we'll just create put. We need items /id and their request response. And here we are going to count name description. And with that, we are going to request that body over there. Update item. Here request params ID. That's what we need to get from our route. Also name and description from our body. And our callback with error, if there is an error, we will copy that as before, because that's the case that will happen all the time. And always raise that status 100, everything's okay, send updated item. And with that, we are able to update. Just we'll add to delete, and I will show you how it's working, if it's working. So add delete and item /id, request response, and here delete items. As you know, as you remember, if not, we are going back to our CRUD. We need ID and callback, as we need 4 of them: ID, name, description, callback inside the update item, so 4 parameters. Right now we only 2. So request params.id, and here error as well. If there is an error, we need raise the status 500 that sent. So we can just paste whenever we've got, and else raise that status command 200 send delete. And with that, we've got everything working. We need to rerun our application, go back to our Postman, check if we've got all of the items. We've got all our items. If we can add items still, yeah, we've got 3, so 3 items should be here. Over there, we'll just change the first item with a new one. So put localhost items first, then send it, updated item, going back. So first item with the ID of 1 should change as well. And as you can see, it's changed. But whenever we would like to delete item, we'll just delete second one. So yeah, with the ID 2, we've got ID 1, 2, and 3. We are going to send that and the response is deleted. And whenever we just rerun it, we've got ID 1 and 3 correctly. So that will be all for that video. But whenever you don't want and you would like to have all the database running inside your Visual Studio Code as well, I will briefly show you how you can manage it. First of all, go to the extensions, and here you need to go to SQLite server. As you can see, I've got it installed. Just install that version. Whenever you just install that version, rerun your Visual Studio Code, because from time to time you need to do that whenever you're creating it. And right now, you should go to the console. So it's like Command Shift and P or Control Shift and P. It depends whenever you are using what operating system. Go to SQLite and Open Database will just pop up. You should go to mydatabase.db. That's the name of our database. The naming convention, as I mentioned before, is up to you, but the .db extension is obligatory. Open it, and nothing happened. But not nothing happened. But whenever as you can see, we've got SQL Explorer over here as a tab. We go to our database, and with the items, so the table, we are going to have a show table. And with that show table, you can have the same results as I've got with the Postman. So with that good accent, it's all for that video. I hope you enjoy it and like it, and see you at the next episode, where we'll just explore more things. If you have any needs and wishes, just leave them in the comments, and I will show you and handle how we can just do something like that. See you and have a nice day. Bye.